Hey, welcome into the Stinkin Truth Podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside Mike Evans. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. We appreciate you, and thank you for subscribing and doing all those things. Mike, how are you?
I'm great. The NFL schedule came out. What an event, huh?
Is it as much of an event now as it was? Like, I remember at my days at ESPN, even my first days at Fox, doing a schedule release show, and it was like this big show. And the networks were the first people to get the schedule. And now they've had the schedule for over a week, but they didn't release it till a week later. So it was supposed to go out like last Thursday, and they held it for a whole week. Why? So teams could make stupid videos of...
It's exactly why.
Yeah.
It's exactly why.
Each individual team could make some stupid video of their release. And so,
Not all of them. Not all of them are stupid. Some were well
some
done.
of them are creative. Some of them are good, but a lot of them are bad.
Did you have a favorite?
Yeah, my favorite was Julian Edelman and Gronkowski doing the whole play on Goodwill Hunting. I thought that was
well done.
I thought that was good. I thought that was fun.
The worst one?
The Broncos. The Broncos may have been the dumbest. Like, they had Sir Lewis Hamilton,
One of their minority owners.
yeah, one of the guys that owns part of that, like, eating things from different cities and going, "Ooh, I don't like that," or "Ooh, that's good." I didn't. He made avocado toast seem like it was some delicacy that he'd never heard of before.
And he clearly doesn't like ranch.
No, yeah. I didn't even get through I live in Denver. I'm a Bronco fan. I didn't get through the first 4 picks. I'll just look it up on the internet. I can't watch this guy anymore. I didn't understand. I believe right now, and I'll go out on record with this, okay? So I'm going to go right here on this podcast. I believe that was the last fulfillment of the contract of Russell Wilson. Okay, you have to let me have my own quarterback coach. You have to have me my own office. I gotta have my own stretching people, my own, this, that, and the other people. We gotta have 8 rooms on the road. I gotta have all this stuff. And you gotta let me make the dumbest video ever on the schedule release. I think those are the parameters of the contract. The Broncos finally fulfilled it. They're eating the $50 million. Boom, they go. That's what I think happened.
I think eating the $50 million was more tolerable than having to go through that schedule release video.
It was
but
bad.
Speaking of Pittsburgh, we're not going to get into all of each team's schedules and what makes them easy or difficult. Right. But a couple do stand out. And speaking of Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin's record of never having a losing season could really be in jeopardy. Let's just say you better get off to a fast start in Pittsburgh, because here's how their schedule finishes down the stretch. This is coming out of their bye week. So they go to Washington. Okay, fine, at Washington. But then home against Baltimore, at Cleveland on a Thursday night, at Cincinnati, home against Cleveland, at Philadelphia, at Baltimore.
Oh, my gosh.
Home against Kansas City on Christmas Day, home against Cincinnati. You go through like the whole division gauntlet.
Right.
And also let's mix in Philadelphia and Kansas City just for good measure.
Yeah. No, that's ridiculous. So you think about that. That could be, you could easily go 0-8, depending upon obviously how those teams are playing. But when you just look at like quarterbacks in general, you've got, come on. Now, right now in that division, Baltimore, if you're going quarterback, just the quarterback confidence pool. Baltimore, you've got confidence. Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, you've got confidence. Not as much in Cleveland, and certainly not as much in Pittsburgh. You would have to give the confidence pool Pittsburgh bringing in the rear, right? You could see them going 0-8 down the stretch. It's hard to believe that Mike Tomlin team would go 0-8 during any period. Like, they're going to play hard. They're going to have a good defense. They're going to be solidly coached and all that stuff, but just on the quarterbacks alone, and you look at that gauntlet that is that second half of their season, man, that is impressive. But I will tell you this as a player,
Can I? Because you said something that just kind of triggered something real quick. You said confidence level in Cleveland low. You're not a big believer in a Deshaun Watson turnaround?
Well, he hasn't turned around yet. What makes you think all of a sudden he's going to turn around now?
Well, some mitigating circumstances. He was away from football for a year,
years.
And also,
2 years.
2 years, and also had some injuries. So if healthy, shouldn't he be able to regain his old form?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. At this point, he hasn't regained it to this point. Could he? I suppose. I mean, it's looking like one of the worst contracts ever signed. But I suppose. But at this point, it's one of those things. I'll believe it when I see it. That's what I think. But it's funny that we do this because I think as fans, you do this all the time, and I think as players, you don't ever do this. Like you love on our radio show, you love to go down each game and pick. Oh, that's a win. That's a win. That's a loss. That's a win. That's a. I think it's the dumbest thing.
Why?
I mean,
you and I. Okay.
All right.
Can we test this real quick?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Because when we're doing the Broncos, and when you just looked at the Bronco opponents and everything like that, and before you even saw the schedule, what did you say you thought their record might be?
I thought they'd win 7 to 9 games.
Okay. So 7 to 9.
No.
So let's say 9 and 8, right?
Yeah.
Or 8 and 9. We then went through the schedule and played your silly, stupid win-loss game that you mock.
Mm-hmm.
Went down each game, win, that's a win, that's a loss. And what did you end up with?
No, ended up with 8 wins.
8 wins.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with playing the game? If you end up in the same place that you kind of thought it going into it.
Because it never turns out. It never. The ones you think are wins, they lose, and then they win one that you think they're gonna. You think you predict them to lose.
But eventually, do they end up kind of where you thought all along?
My point is this: is that I look at a team and say, the players on that team. I look at them and go, I think that's a 7-8 win team. I think that's a 10-win team. I think that's a 12-win team. I don't go through each and every. You know what we do as players? I think this stands for most players. I think it's still that way. You look at the schedule release. The first thing you do as a player is look at when my bye week is. Where's the bye week? Is there an opportunity to get away for a little bit? For me, I always look at the bye week is, you're going to have like everybody else is going to Vegas for 3 days. I'm going to lay on an operating table and get some type of surgery. Like that was.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. I mean, it was always my bye week was always that. So, but I think you'd look for your bye week. And then for me, I would look for, not necessarily team matchups, but my individual matchup that I knew was going to give me fits. Like I knew the guy that I hated playing against, the guy that I just didn't match up well against, whatever. And it wasn't so much about going like, oh, we played this. Oh, I never one time looked at the schedule and went, oh, shoot, this is a tough stretch. We got road, home, road. Ooh, like I don't give a shit. Like who cares? Like I never looked at that. But I did look at like the teams that like maybe you got a great pass rusher like a Warren Sapp, or for me it was always I would always and this is a name that a lot of people haven't really ever heard of, John Perella.
Oh yeah,
former Nebraska player, played for Buffalo, and then ended up playing for the Chargers for a long time. John was just one of those guys, one of the few guys that I always felt like anytime I put my hand in a stance, I could take guys off the ball in the run game. Like I could always drive dudes off the ball. John was like running into a fire hydrant. I just never really, I was just working for a stalemate. If I get a stalemate, it's a win today. And so I always knew that was just going to be, and not that he was going to get a bunch of pass rush stuff on me or, sack the quarterback or anything. I just knew a physical battle, and it was going to be an all-day sucker. So I would always look at where do I play the Chargers? When do we play the Chargers? And other than that, I don't think you really look at, you don't go through as a player this schedule. Maybe it's changed. Maybe guys do that in today's game. Maybe they did it when I was playing, and I just never really paid attention to it.
Listen, folks out there, all of you as football fans, don't listen to this man's cynicism and skepticism. Don't let him take away from your fun. You grab that schedule. You start putting W's and L's next to every opponent. You have fun with it. That's what matters. What is the best bye week? What's the worst bye week?
Always, it's so funny because you'll always change it. If you got like a bye week in week 4, your coach will go, well, we came into camp in July, and then we had the preseason, and then and he goes, if you really divvy up the thing, you're right in the middle. Like, this is perfect bye week, right? And then they're lying because they would rather have it later.
They're just trying to justify it.
Right.
Yeah,
So you want it somewhere in the middle of the regular season, week 8, week 9, somewhere in there, right? So then if you get one that's in week 8, week 9, you're like, this is the perfect time for the bye week, blah, blah, blah. And then if you get one like the Broncos have theirs in week 14, like the last bye week available, right? Then you start making up how it's going to get you fresh for the end run. And like, this is actually, you'll throw up some innocuous statistic that nobody will actually be able to Google. I talked to the analytics department. Turns out the people with week 14 bye weeks in the last, and they'll give some, like in the last 10 seasons with week 14 bye weeks, those teams went on to win the last 5 games and set themselves up for, a playoff run or the next season. And it'll be completely fabricated bullshit. But they'll get you. It's like bulletin board material. You know why bulletin board material is important? Because it works, right? Like, we're simple creatures. We're just big, dumb animals. And you say, hey, man, this guy said this. And you hang it in your, you hang it in your locker. And everybody goes, oh, I'm mad. I'm angry. We're going to get focused and we're going to go. And so that's how the bye weeks work.
One thing I always enjoy our conversations, you love to take shots at the NFL for how they fake their interest in player safety.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one for you. So for years, the NFL required teams to play only once per year with a 4-day turnaround.
Right.
Play on a Sunday and you got Thanksgiving. You play on Thanksgiving, that kind of thing. Well, the NFL got rid of that rule last year.
Okay.
Didn't get a lot of fanfare. But now teams play multiple games with only 3 days off between games. There'll be 13 teams this year that do it twice with short turnarounds.
Right.
So where you play Sunday, Thursday. Now you'll benefit with the little mini bye on the back end of it. You get some extra time off, but as a league that's always preaching player safety, let's put these teams out there multiple times in the season where they have like 2 or 3 days to get ready to play.
Right. Well, but they'll give you some statistic about how there's less injuries. Like, there's no more injuries on a Thursday night than there is on a Sunday, and maybe it's because the product is not as good. There's no possible way you can play as fast as you would if you had the extra days to recover and all that stuff. And, you don't know the overall wear and tear that does. Maybe there is no cause and effect. I don't know, but it just seems – I just know how you feel, rolling out to Wednesday. Now, you don't practice. You have a couple of walkthroughs. And, again, that goes back to more the integrity of the game. And it goes back to the quality of the game. And the NFL, honestly, the NFL doesn't give a shit about the quality of the game. They don't. Because, they're selling crack to crack addicts. Like, we can't get enough of it. So, everybody complains about the quality of the game. But nothing's
But do you
ever
think fans really notice it? Like,
no, I don't think fans
do. You think most fans, the average NFL fan, watches an NFL game and can just flat out say, wow, the quality of play in this game is bad.
The quality of the product.
You can see the fumbles and stuff like that. But I'm just talking about, how you can view a game and say, wow, that is bad football. Do you think the average fan really knows it?
No, I don't think the average fan recognizes it, sees it, notices it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it is. It was funny. Like you probably don't recognize the quality of the game, but look at all the different quarterbacks that had to start a game last year. It was something ridiculous, like 68 different, whatever it was. It was ridiculous. And I'm calling a game in Detroit, and I'm on the sideline before the game. I'm down on the field, going talking to guys and stuff, and I had a long conversation with Roger Goodell. And Roger Goodell's like, "Hey, these quarterback injuries, like, what are we going to do?" Like, I don't know, Roger. Maybe start practicing. Maybe start, putting pads on occasionally. Maybe start grooming your offensive linemen, like developing that skill. But what we've done is we've said, hey, we'll trade the quality of the game for more games. That's what NFL ownership has done. So they've just been like, hey, man, we want more games because we want more opportunity to make money. Therefore, we'll trade away actually creating professional football players. We'll have players that play professional football the players that play professional football but aren't actually professionals. Like, you understand the difference. You can play a pro sport, doesn't make you a professional. Like, I want professional football players. And you know what you can't be? A professional if you never get the chance to go out and work on your craft. Like walking through stuff does not help you work on your craft. It's you don't walk through games, and so that we do have a real quality issue. Has it affected us? No, because we're Teflon, so it hasn't affected us yet. But even eventually, you can buy the highest quality Teflon pan, but eventually, you know what happens? It gets scratched up. And when it gets scratched up, you know what happens? Your eggs stick to the bottom of it. And then you're pissed off because they don't slide off anymore. Right. Eventually, Teflon gets ruined. And if you keep down this path, eventually, I don't know when, but eventually, it's going to hurt you.
Well, the NFL is certainly confident that day is a long way off, because do you know that this year, the only day of the week there will not be an NFL game played this year is a Tuesday. That's it. We're going to have football on Monday, Thursday, Friday,
right,
with the season opener for Philadelphia, and I'm drawing a blank on the other team playing in Brazil. That's going to be on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday, folks, because Wednesday, Christmas falls on a Wednesday this year, and the NFL saw how popular Christmas Day games are.
Oh, yeah.
Basically just telling the NBA, you've cultivated for years the idea that Christmas is your day, and the NFL just comes in and said, sorry, we'll be taking that. Thank you very much. So they're going to put 2 games on Christmas Day, a Wednesday, Chiefs at Steelers, Ravens at Texans, and check this out. Again, the NFL just all about making the money. They opened it up to everybody to bid on it. Netflix came in. They're going to pay about $75 million for each of the games, so about $150 million total for those 2 games on Christmas Day. So you better have Netflix if you want to watch football on Christmas Day, which, Mark, begs the question, are we heading down that path where all the big games, maybe even the Super Bowl, will be pay-per-view, basically?
Yeah, well, I mean, I will tell you this. If it helps the NFL make more money, then we will head down that way. Like, I think what I read about the Netflix thing is that an average original picture that they make on Netflix, it's about $75 million to make it, right? The average, but you get the replay and you get all that stuff, right? And you get subscriptions and all the stuff. And one thing they found out with Amazon Prime and everything else is that when people subscribed to whatever streaming service it was just to watch the game, they maintained those subscriptions. So, the big play here is, hey, we're going to spend this $75 million. We're not going to get any revenue from replays or any of that kind of stuff, but we'll get subscribers, and subscribers more likely than not will stay. And so $75 million per game. It's a pretty incredible. I don't know what you're going to sell the advertising on that live deal is, but pretty incredible. And how much money does Netflix have?
Right? They can't be making money. They got to be losing.
No, it says
billions.
They lose money every year, but they're flush with cash.
You want to talk about a couple contracts?
Yeah, sure.
How about the Jared Goff deal? 4 years, $212 million, $170 million of it guaranteed. Good for him.
Yeah.
You talk about a guy who, was sort of just discarded by the Rams.
Yeah.
And really is flourishing in Detroit. You've done some Detroit games. What is it about that infrastructure there in Detroit that has really allowed Jared Goff to take off and prosper?
Well, I think it. I say this about raising kids all the time. The best thing you can do for your kids is to believe in them, right? I mean, just have that belief in them, encourage them to do those things. The Detroit Lions believe in Jared Goff. He is their leader. He is their guy. And, I've said it many times. I've said it to Jared Goff's face. We kind of dump on you ultimately. But when you look at it and you start looking at numbers and you start looking at efficiency and you start looking at accuracy and you start looking at all the different numbers, that we're so enamored by, why do we not talk about Jared Goff as a top 10 quarterback? He is. Like, if you look at all the statistics, he is that. And now he benefits from having, arguably the best offensive line in football in Detroit. He's got unbelievable players, not from David Montgomery to Gibbs in the backfield to, you talk to like Sean Payton, the coach of the Broncos, is big on the joker position, right? And you got to have a joker position. And the joker position could be, it could be anybody. It could be a slot receiver that can double as a tight end and can make you kind of think twice about it. It can be a quarterback like he had with Taysom Hill that does a bunch of different things. It can be a running back, that you can put in multiple positions and you can run like a 3-wide set out of two-back personnel. A lot of people call it pony is what they'll call that. But you're really running you're really running 3-wide sets out of a 2-back formation. So it makes the defense have to think about what you're going on. But he would call that a joker or a tight end that can play multiple positions. And when you look at the Detroit Lions, they have 2 jokers. They have Gibbs, the running back, who's who became, like, he started off slow, but, man, he really came on at the end of the season. And they have Sam Laporta, the tight end. Sam Laporta is an amazing, amazing football player. So you really have kind of 2 joker positions for the Detroit Lions, and they take great advantage of that with Jared Goff, and I love their coordinator Ben Johnson, who decided to stay. And I don't always agree with Dan Campbell when it comes to his 4th down decisions and stuff, but you got to say one thing about Dan Campbell: that dude has got giant balls, like pterodactyl nuts.
Lugs them around in a wheelbarrow.
That's right. You got to have them big pterodactyl, big pterodactyl wings to carry them nuts with him.
Yeah.
I mean, those things are ginormous.
You need yourself like one of those Game of Thrones dragons, right?
Yeah, right.
Which I know you're a big fan of Game of Thrones.
No, yeah, I love dragons.
You love them White Walkers, everything like that. Jared Goff is a top fill-in-the-blank quarterback.
Top 10.
Top 10. No hesitation.
No, I mean, guy is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in football. He really is. And he is, he's legit. He's a big-time player. They've got a big-time football team in Detroit. They really do. They're a fun team to watch, and they've got a great culture. Guys walk into Detroit, and I've walked in there when Matt Patricia, no offense to Matt Patricia, when Matt Patricia was the head coach. I've walked in there at other times in that facility to call a game, man, and it was like, how gray and gloomy it can be in Detroit in November? That's like a September day. Like, you're just like walking in going, it stinks to be here. You walk in the Detroit facility now, and it can be gray and drizzly in November, December. You walk in there, man, that is a bolt of sunshine. I'm talking about people behind the scenes, coaches, players, cafeteria workers, equipment guys, you name it. They love walking in there. And that is a testament to Dan Campbell and the leadership he's provided to that organization.
So after that real heartbreaking loss to San Francisco, do you feel like this is a team that is ready to come back, have learned some painful lessons, ready to apply it? I'm asking, is Detroit the team to beat in the NFC?
Oh, yeah. Detroit, the team to beat in the NFC. Well, I certainly think they're the team to beat in the NFC North.
Yep.
Although we saw Green Bay make some great strides toward the end of the season. NFC in general.
San Francisco, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Dallas.
Yeah. Well,
just kind of spitballing.
I would tell you that Detroit would be in my top 3. I'm not sure where I'd put them in my. San Francisco is going to be in there. Yeah. Detroit is in there without question. They'd be in my top. They'd be in my top 3.
Rams, maybe another one throw in there.
Rams, yeah, Rams are in there. But yeah, Detroit would be in my top 3.
One more contract to discuss. Antoine Winfield Jr. I know you love this guy. You just the ultimate respect that Mark Schlereth can pay to a football player is to call him a football player, right?
Yeah, football playing Jesse, this dude.
And this guy's a football player.
Yeah, there's no question.
What makes him so good? He's now the highest paid defensive back
in
football First time it's been a safety
Yeah.
as the highest paid defensive back. Normally that goes to a cornerback. What makes this guy so legit?
He's just a football player, man. I mean, he is. In a day and age where we're not paying safeties right now, like we've gone full circle. 5 years ago, you couldn't. Yeah, I mean, every safety is going to get paid. Now there's only a handful of them that are getting paid. He's one of those dudes that can be a middle of the field eraser. He's just got unbelievable instinct, ball skills, can erase a wide open guy and take it away from him. Kind of like back in the day, like Earl Thomas, when he was with the Seahawks, was just like otherworldly. Right. His ability to do that. I think Antoine Winfield's got Winfield Jr.'s got some of that in him. Remember, his father was a big time cornerback in the league for a long time, so he's got that coverage skill ability at the safety position. But also, man, he can have his heels at 12 to 14, and you run the ball, man. He's going to meet you at the line of scrimmage with nasty intentions. He's a great blitzer. Like, he is a complete player. So he also becomes, we talked about the joker position on the offensive side of the ball. He becomes somewhat of a joker position where he could play middle of the field safety. He can play run support safety. He can play a nickel guy if you want him to play a nickel guy. Like, he's got those coverage ability skills. Like, he's just all over the place. And so he's getting paid. Now, he'll get usurped, obviously. Like, another
Patrick
guy,
Surtain is coming up.
Patrick Surtain, another guy whose father was a phenomenal cornerback in the league. He can get Antoine Winfield Jr. will get usurped probably by Pat Surtain, but he's a damn good football player, and it's a great move. To me, it's a great move by Tampa. He plays the game the right way.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah,
good stuff.
All right, schedule release over. We can put it to bed.
You don't have to fake
we don't
anymore.
Have to go win, loss, win, loss, win, loss.
Play the game, folks.
I hate the game.
Play the game.
I hate the game.
Have fun playing the game. You're a football fan. You've earned the right to have fun playing the WWLL game.
I'll give you that. I'll give you the WW. What would losers do? For everybody involved in the Stinkin' Truth podcast, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back with you next week. Hey, for everybody involved in the Stinkin' Truth, we thank you so much. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for more content just like this. If you want to see more of our videos, you can also be sure to check out our playlist. Let us know exactly what you think in the comments below. We appreciate you guys so much for being a part of that.
Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest updates. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.